Ohio River floods. 1 million people homeless. 385 people perished. Roosevelt sworn in for second term as president of the US of A. Hindenburg bursts into flames in Lakehurst, New Jersey. The year is 1937, and this absolutely stunning supercharged front-wheel drive baby Duesenberg could be bought brand new. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel where we talk about machines, not appliances. When you can make your car better via a software update, that is considered an appliance. Some people don't know the difference. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics. We love the orphan cars and car brands that are frankly being forgotten. We talk history, specs, design of these rolling works of art. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Real quick, I got together with another YouTuber, Bill from Vintage Car History. We did a thing where we just talked cars. If you wanted to check that out, link is in the description. Also, be sure to check out his channel. He talks about the people behind the cars, and his channel only goes up to 1932.
He's asked me, hey, why don't you go in front of the car and have somebody else hold the camera for you? I shoot the channel like it's a first-person experience for you. I want you to experience the car at the same time I experience the car. I want you to see all the lines that I am seeing. It's almost like it's you doing it.
This 1937 Cord 812 is currently on display at Canton Classic Car Museum in Canton, Ohio. So if you're ever out this way and you're looking for something to do, be sure to check this place out and tell them Jay from What It's Like YouTube channel sent you there. Before getting into the 37 Cord was founded on December 28th, 1929 as a holding company. Was founded by E.L. Cord. Cord was a race car driver, salesman, businessman. Auburn wasn't doing so well in the early 20s. There was a depression of sorts back in the 20s, and it almost wiped Auburn off the face of the earth. They went to E.L. Cord to try to turn their company around. By 1928, Cord owned Auburn, and they were able to take it from 0 to 13th in the industry. And then he bought Duesenberg. Cord had 150 companies in his portfolio, which included shipbuilders and airlines. Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg, Lycoming Engines, Limousine Body Company, Central Manufacturing, Union City Body Company, Columbia Axle and Safety Cab, aka Checker Cab, among many, many others. The crazy thing is, Cord only built 3 car models during its whole entire existence. The L29 was the first Cord product and was the first mass-produced, is the key word, front-wheel drive American car. It wasn't the first front-wheel drive American car, though. That title goes to legendary race car driver, race car builder, Harry Miller. His race cars were front-wheel drive. That was a starting point for Cord. Many people will say the Citroen Traction Avanti was the first mass-produced front-wheel drive car. Because of the term mass production means different things to different people. If I was to build 3,000 cabinets, I would think that that was mass-produced. But if you were Citroen, that isn't a mass-produced number. Like 30,000 would be a mass production number. So that's where the speculation comes from. Cord would follow up the L29 with the Cord 810 in 1936. And the Cord 812 in 1937. The only major difference between the 810 and the 812 are the 810 is naturally aspirated 289 Lycoming V8, whereas the 812 uses the same 289 Lycoming, but supercharged. The easiest way to tell the 812 from the 810 is the exposed pipes, which are actually intake pipes. It has exhaust that runs out the back. Side note, it's possible to get an 810 in 1936 and 37. 812 was only made in 1937. Cord 810/812 was the first for a couple things. It was the first mass production of a vehicle with front-wheel drive with independent suspension. First car with flip-up headlights. Let's talk specs. 189 inches long, 60 inches tall, 77 inches wide. It rides a wheelbase of 125 inches. It weighs 3,000 864 pounds. Price, $2,645, which is equivalent to you spending $56,042.59 in the year 2023. Total 1937 cord. This is both 810 and 812s. 1764. Moving on to engine. Only one engine on offer, 289 cubic inch displacement, 80-degree Lycoming V8 with a supercharger, 4.7 liters. It made anywhere between 170 to 192 horsepower at 4,200 RPM, 260 pound-feet of torque at 2,200 RPM, with a bore of 3.5 inches and a stroke of 3.8 inches. It was backed with a 4-speed manual Bendix electric hand, which was developed in partnership with Hudson Motor Car Company. 0 to 60 could be had somewhere between 11 and 13 and a half seconds. Theoretical top speed, 112 miles per hour. It will do the quarter mile in 18.3 seconds at 70 miles per hour.
So, let's talk styling. Just look at these bumpers and how they are designed. Look at all these layers and textures on the overriders or bumperettes. I love this middle part here with the 3 distinctive lines. This one has accessory lights. It even says cord in them. Look at how this is all protruded in the bodywork, and the reason for it is because the transmission actually sits here. That's why it has to be all sculpted like this. Just look at those lines. Look at all of these bar sections on the coffin nose hood. This car has pop-up headlights. Look at the Steelies and or artillery wheels. There is an ever so slight crease, but it doesn't start there. It actually starts in the headlight. And look at it. Comes back to this part here. I absolutely love this shape. It reminds me of like a Delahaye. Also look at the grille lines here. Notice these. These are only found on the 812 for the supercharger. And I think it's cool. It's on both sides. Looking at the hood, it does have an ever so faint center line. This car has dual cowls, 2-piece windshield. Look at all of the bright work. Mirrors are mounted here. Door handles. Notice this car does not have running boards and is a teardrop shape. The biggest, widest point of the car is right here. Look at all of this bright work. Rear fender gravel guard. I love this line here. And out the back. Look at these brake lights. These are almost flush mounted brake lights. This might be the very first car to have brake lights like that. The rear bumpers mimic the front bumpers with the textured effect, but it looks like they curve more. Yeah. License plate light, Getting into the trunk, just unlatch it here. These latches get in the way of the bumper when you're opening it. It's really hard to do one-handed. That is all the higher the trunk goes. Notice gas filler is on the passenger side. Full-size spare tire inside the trunk. And it looks like you could get some stuff over here, but the trunk isn't really that big. Nor does it go up that high. So interesting, this is how the headlights work. They're crank operated and you crank them. Coming to the front door and getting inside. But before we do, look at all of the textured effect happening with this door knob. Very pointy. So just look at the window frame. It's all trimmed out. Does not have vent windows. Does have an armrest to stick your arm on. This feels like a leather material. Window crank for the big window. Operates like this. Very smooth, but it took like 20 cranks to get the window down. Door handle to get out. Just look at this interior. Coming down inside, the pedal box down here. Clutch, brake, gas pedal. Just look at how flat the floor is. Over the hood. This is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood looks like. What a gorgeous place to be. Just look at that dashboard with all the engine turning.
On to the button switches and knobs. Coolant temperature, speedometer with odometer and tripometer inside of it. Gasoline gauge, pre-select gearbox and or Bendix electric hand. Headlights, gas pump, choke, panel lights, tachometer, lighter, oil pressure, clock, amp meter, ignition, and radio.
Above, there aren't any sun visors. Just convertible top latches. Here's a convertible top latch here, convertible top latch here, and a convertible top latch over there. Underneath the steering wheel, there is room to put my hand. I wear size 36 pants, and the only reason I say that is because if you are the same size as me, you'll fit in this car. This is what I look like sitting in the driver's seat. I got adequate head space. It feels a bit smushed. I was in a 4-door Accord and it didn't feel this small inside of it. Maybe it's the convertible top. Behind his glove box, oil pressure gauge, as well as some other things in there, as well as some place to store stuff. Ashtray. Here's what the keys look like. I don't think that those are standard keys. This one has a passenger side glove box, but it's locked. So the crazy thing is the headlights each have their own crank. So the passenger has to crank open the one on the passenger side. If there isn't a passenger, you have to do both. Just look at this rear seat. And that's how much space there is to get back there. Coming to the under the hood section, there is a hood release right here. The hood is extremely heavy. Here is the transmission right here. And notice it protrudes outward. It's covered up by this cover here. It sits in front of the radiator. Just look at that Lycoming flathead V8 that sits way down inside. all of this exhaust work coming off of here. This engine uses a special intake. Look at how that pipes into it. There's a lot going on. Massive horn. Distributor on top, carburetor on top. Look at the generator right there.
On the positive side, recognize classic, timeless design, engineering brilliance, fine road manners, CCA classic status, space for 6-foot-tall people, beautiful dash, full instrumentation, comfy seats. 4 doors are affordable, especially the 810. I saw one at $35,000 this year, and then I saw another one for $50,000. Still a lot of money, but in the context of baby Duesenberg, it's a total bargain. Against it, mechanically unreliable, high running costs, rarely offered for sale, small rear seat if you have a 2-door model. Visibility isn't great, especially out the rear. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1929 Cord L29 or a 1937 Cord 812 or a 1935 Auburn Speedster? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Moving on to the second scenario. All 3 of these look at the fender design, 1937 Delahaye 145 or 1937 Cord 812 or 1940 Packard Darren. Look at all of the fenders between these. They all look very similar. Going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below or check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. Don't have Facebook and would like to reach me? Send me an email. All of it will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate all of the support, and until next time, if you're still here, be sure to check out Bill's channel, Vintage Car History, on YouTube. I'm going to link it in the description below. Very cool channel. Be sure to check that out. Lois, you can't spell love without L-O. You can't spell is without I-S. You can't spell silo without Lois.